Wherever you may be, I'm Bill Schonley.
And I'm Dan Kiley from Les Schwab Tire Centers. Tonight, we're bringing you a special program.
For the next hour, sit back and enjoy the rich heritage of Oregon sports at its best and share the achievements and the glory of Oregon heroes.
This is the 2005 induction ceremony into your Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
In Portland, Tigard, Beaverton, and Bend, Standard TV and Appliance has enjoyed serving Northwest families since 1947.
And Les Schwab Tire Centers, located now in 7 western states, are pleased to continue our great tradition of community support.
Les Schwab and Standard TV and Appliance are pleased to bring you commercial-free this year's induction ceremony.
Some of Oregon's greatest athletes are enshrined in the hall. Stop by and check it out at 4th and Salmon in downtown Portland. Now, enjoy this year's ceremony courtesy of Les Schwab Tire Centers
and Standard TV and Appliance. This year, decathlete Dan O'Brien reveals his long-kept secret about competing in the Olympics. And fellow athlete Dave Johnson shares his feelings about the Dan and Dave campaign. Oregonian Scott Brosius says there was a time that he hated the Yankees. Boxer Ray Lampkin and other homegrown national champions got their starts in Northeast Portland at the Knott Street Boxing Center. And new Trailblazer coach Nate McMillan shares long-term plans for his young team. Sports teach us vital life lessons, shaping our choices and commitments at work, at play, and for that matter, at home. The most successful athletes are those who learn to prepare, to stay focused, play fair, and handle defeat. And in the face of setbacks and losses, they continue to improve and enjoy the game that they play. And so many great, outstanding athletes over the years have been enshrined each year right here at the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. But now it's time for the induction ceremony. So let us take you to the Multnomah Athletic Club for this year's class. Welcome to the 26th Annual Oregon Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony, an annual social event in Portland. The ceremony tonight brings together those who follow sports to honor those who excel at sports. Past inductees, fans, and athletes from around the state and around the country, all here to celebrate Oregon sports. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 26th Annual Induction Ceremony to the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. It is now time, and as we celebrate our sports heritage, again this year, we're here at the Multnomah Athletic Club in downtown Portland, and history calls this building the birthplace of sports athletes who have loved this state and all she stands for, and have played out of the MAC Club dating back to 1891. Tonight, we induct the class of 2005. And these athletes were selected through a lengthy process of membership, nomination, and voting, followed by a huge review and the selection of the nomination committee and the board of directors, and they have earned their place in the Sports Hall of Fame alongside Oregon's finest. Now, this first inductee to the class of 2005 is the first of 2 Oregon athletes who were called the world's greatest. On a rainy spring day in Gresham in 1984, young Dan O'Brien showed the promise of greatness to come. O'Brien splashed his way to 4 individual championships for Henley High School at the state meet, and a decathlete was born. But it would not be until after his college days that the future world's greatest athlete began to deliver on that promise of greatness. O'Brien emerged on the world scene, setting the American record in 1991, then backed it up with his first world championship.
Dan O'Brien captured gold medals.
For the 1992 Olympic trials, O'Brien has reached his prime and was ready to jump, run, and throw for the gold. His chief competition, fellow Oregonian Dave Johnson. The multi-million-dollar hype of the Dan and Dave show came to a crashing end with Dan's no height in the pole vault at the trials.
He fails to clear, and having passed at several earlier, easier heights, he has no heighted. He gets no points. It looks like he almost certainly will not qualify.
That would follow the greatest test of Dan O'Brien's character and perseverance. After sitting out the Barcelona games, O'Brien traveled to France and reset the world record, defeating the Olympic champion. Dan's Olympic dreams would not go unfulfilled. He executed a perfect 4-year plan to win his gold medal in Atlanta.
That's an outstanding performance for Dan O'Brien.
And along the way, O'Brien was undefeated, taking 4 more USA titles and 2 more world championships. The gold medal might have been a crowning finish to his career, but O'Brien has continued to make competitive comebacks, as well as building new careers as a coach and a commentator. 10 events in 2 days. Dan O'Brien has redefined the definition of decathlete as the world's greatest athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Mr. Dan O'Brien right here. Have a seat, young man, and we'll talk. All right, what got you into track and field and what you finally accomplished?
You know, I got into track and field because I think it was the first race I ever ran, I won. I was in the 5th grade. I went to a high school football game in Merrill, Oregon, and entered a 1-mile fun run for kids my age group. And I took off running, and before you knew it, I was in front, and I out-sprinted a guy to the finish line. Imagine that. The 1 mile was my first experience in track and field. But I participated in track just because I just wanted to hang out with my friends. And I remember running cross country, and one day I got in from a nice long 4-mile run and sprinted to the finish line, and the coach said, maybe tomorrow you should run with the sprinters. And, you know, I didn't run too many miles after that.
All right, Jackie Joyner Kersee, Bruce Jenner, people like that influenced you, did they not?
Absolutely. I got into the multi-events. I'll never forget after I had a chance to meet Jackie Joyner in 1988 at the Olympic trials where I was injured. But by meeting her, I regained just new respect for the event. I thought Jackie Joyner has made the multi-events very valid. And I dedicated myself at that particular time to becoming what I thought at that time was the next Bruce Jenner.
The Dan and Dave show, your version of all of that.
Well, it was exciting. You know, I really have to look back on those times as you know, the highlight for the decathlon in the United States. We made a resurgence. We hadn't had a champion since Bruce Jenner in 1976, and I think there's never been more hype in the decathlon, you know, up until that point. I think Dave and I, what we did to decathlon, we just gave it new interest. Everything we did was really fun. I mean, it was hard work. A lot of people say, oh, it must have been so much fun. You know, we woke up at 5 a.m. for 2 weeks in a row, you know, when we were shooting those commercials, and we really worked hard. But we had a good time. We developed a really good friendship, and you know, I can honestly say that because we spent all the time doing the commercials, that wasn't the reason that I didn't make the height in the pole vault. So.
Your Olympic experiences.
You know, my Olympic experience went like this. In 1996, I got to Atlanta a couple of weeks before I participated, and I was seeing other people do their thing. I'm good friends with Amy Van Dyken and Dominic Moceanu. I got to see them perform, and I couldn't wait for it to be my turn. And then when I actually got out on the field and was doing it myself, it was so stressful I couldn't wait for it to be over. And then when it was over and I had won, I couldn't wait to do it again. So I couldn't really make up my mind. There's no bigger stress in any sporting event that I know of than the Olympic Games. So stressful because so many eyes are on you. And especially for me in 1996, to deal with all that pressure from not having made the team in 92, there was an enormous amount of stress. So when it was over, it wasn't so much a thrill of victory. Wow, you know, I really did it. It was just like, phew, I'm glad that went just the way I wanted it to go.
Dan, stand, please.
All right, thank you.
All right. No, wait a minute. Dan O'Brien, for your athletic endeavors to the great state of Oregon and your career, you are now officially inducted October the 11th, 2005, in the State of Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. The next inductee, the other greatest decathlete, who still calls Oregon his home. And this is a world-class individual that all athletes can look up to. Dave Johnson did not become an Oregonian until he moved from Montana to Corvallis for his senior year of high school. That year would become pivotal in the life of the world's best-known bronze medalist. The move to Oregon changed a troubled young life. Dave discovered his faith and a new love, track and field. His immediate success on the track taught Johnson how to set goals and then reach them. A powerful work ethic developed, and Dave would rise from obscurity at Lynn Benton Community College in Western Oregon to the top of the heap in the decathlon. Johnson was actually considered America's best hope in the sport in 1990 after winning the Goodwill Games and the U.S. Championship. But by 1992, fellow Oregonian Dan O'Brien had emerged as a contender, and the overheated Dan and Dave show hit the airwaves. In the wake of Dan O'Brien's no height at the trials, Johnson carried the red, white, and blue to Barcelona. Competing with a broken foot, his toughness and will would carry the 2 days of the decathlon. Johnson's bronze medal was hard-earned and no less impressive than gold or silver. Dave Johnson earned a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, specializing in sports psychology and the impact of relationships on athletic performance. Johnson is very aware of his impact on young children and is always striving to be a positive role model. Dave Johnson, so much more than the second part of Dan and Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Johnson, right here. Have a seat and we'll talk. All right. Grew up in Montana, got down to the valley eventually, and everything started to roll for you from there. Tell us that story.
It did. My senior year in high school, we moved from Montana to Corvallis, Oregon, and senior year in high school at Crescent Valley High School, I thought the best way to make friends at a new high school, I better go out for sports. You know, I'd quit all sports in Montana when I started high school. And so I went out for football. I lied to the coach. I told him I was a wide receiver. And he believed me, and he stuck me in the position. But what was important is I found out I was fast. I had speed compared to the other athletes out there. Not quite as fast as Dan, but speed compared to other athletes that had been doing it for years. And then a natural ability to catch the ball. And most of all, you know, I think what happened that was very important for me that year was accepting Christ. That senior year in high school was a big opportunity for my life to make some changes and have it be for something else other than myself.
As I recall, your track career started with, you wanted to throw the javelin, and then everything fell into place. Is that correct?
Yeah, it started off in my senior year in high school. I tried the high jump, and I was on the relay team. But once I arrived into college, yeah, for some reason there was a javelin sticking in the ground, and all those years throwing apples at cars and snowballs and rocks, and picked up that javelin, and it flew really well, just naturally. And the coaches were looking at me to just be a javelin thrower, but as I tried the other events, and they mentioned the decathlon word and Bruce Jenner and past Olympic decathletes, I just decided it was a challenge to try all those events all at once and just become as best as I possibly could be in those events and just see where I could end up.
West Albany High School, and now an administrator at Jefferson High School.
Jefferson High School, yeah, not here in Portland. It's out south of Salem.
Yep.
Yeah, administrating and athletic directing about 300 kids at Jefferson High School, and it's been, again, I look back at my past and how equipped I am to be involved with kids. And
Your calling, maybe. Huh?
My calling, exactly. I mean, I mentioned I accepted Christ my senior year in high school, and it's been this incredible journey ever since trying track and becoming a Christian and following the Lord. And now that I'm an administrator and I'm working with kids as an athletic director, I've got all this ability to touch their lives and coach them through academics, coach them through track and field, and just, you know, I see little Olympians in each and every one of them, and it just drives me nuts that I can't be around and just follow them wherever they go. And some of them, they do see hope through me, and I'm able to. I'm just able to be in their lives in a positive way, and hopefully they'll make some changes.
Final thought. Your version of the Dan and Dave show.
My version, well,
Yeah.
it's Dave and Dan, of course.
Dave,
is what,
that's right. Yeah.
But it's Dan and Dave was a great idea. It was at a perfect time for track and field to promote some athletes that were relatively unknown. We were number 1 and 2 in the world in the decathlon at the time, and my take of that whole experience was it was an honor to be a part of the growth of track and field, and to have that as a vehicle today. To look back at it as a vehicle today to let kids see who this guy used to be that is making them do detention or something, and they just go, wow, Mr. Johnson, you know, what are you doing here? And I let them know, I'm here because I need to be part of your life, and it's been just incredibly rewarding. So Dan and Dave, to me, is a vehicle to bring up some kids here in Oregon and make them Olympians.
Well, speaking of Oregon, stand up.
All right.
Mr. Johnson. On behalf of the state of Oregon and what you have achieved in life, in sports, and the rest of your life, you are now an official member of the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. Dave Johnson. Oregon athletes have made a significant contribution to the world of sports. Whether a coach, a team, or an individual player, the athletic feats of Oregonians have broken new records, set new heights, and used their ingenuity to take the world of sports to a new level. And this is your Sports Hall of Fame as well. It was specially designed for the entire family or the entire boardroom. Whether it's a walk through the hall remembering feats of glory or a special place for that meeting or party, if you enjoy sports, this is a must visit. Now, all of us who follow Oregon sports can be proud of the rich heritage that this hall stands for, and I would like to introduce the man that currently provides the leadership for this dynamic institution. Would you please welcome now the president of the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame, Mr. Chuck Richards. Chuck.
Nice to see you. Well, thank you all for attending this evening. We have a terrific slate of inductees, and I think it exemplifies the excellence of sport in Oregon. This class, our 26th class. And I would like to thank the U.S. Trust and the Harold and Maude Taylor Foundation for supporting this evening's live event. Harold Taylor was a longtime supporter of the Hall of Fame, and we miss him dearly. And we want to thank Standard TV and Appliance, and I think Bill has something to do with that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, for providing support for that. and also Les Schwab Tires. So enjoy tonight's events and the induction ceremony, and Bill, and thank you again for attending.
But at this time, I'd like to introduce a very special athlete, new to Portland. We have heard his name many times recently. 20 years it took him to get here, but maybe we're going to hear that old phrase again, Rip City here in Portland. We sat down with a young man. Let us all welcome Nate McMillan. Nate, terrific to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, you've been here a short time. Give us your impressions of the state of Oregon and Portland, what you've seen.
The fans have been great. You know, my wife and I have bought a home, and a beautiful home, and you know, she loves it up here. So it's been good. I've been up here for the last 2 months, and you know, I feel strange when I go up north.
Go up north now.
It's not a place where it once was.
Nate, as the two of us speak, you've been in training camp for a few days now, and you have your coaching staff intact, but you have a Hall of Famer as one of your assistant coaches, well loved here, Maurice Lucas. Tell us that story and how the two of you got together, and he's one of your assistant coaches.
Maurice, I just got a great deal of respect for Maurice, and I think he has the same for me. I was Maurice Lucas' rook. My first year in the league. I played with him my first year, and at that time, veterans had rookies.
Yes, sir.
And you know, you had to respect those veterans, or they would do whatever they needed to do to you. I mean, it was serious. We had a guy try to get me to do something one day, and I wouldn't do it. And you know, one of the veterans asked me to get a Coke, get him a soda. And, you know, Bill, this guy's right next to the machine. And I'm saying, you know, John, all you got to do is reach over and get you a drink. I'm laying on the floor stretching. And he said, Rook, I said, get me a drink. And I'm saying, man, I'm not getting you a soda. I mean, all you got to do is grab the cup, reach over, and get your own drink. So this guy's about to stand up. He's standing up over me now, about to pound me. And you know, my eyes are getting a little watery, getting a little nervous. And Luke walks in, and Luke said, hey, what are you doing? That's my rook. Nobody messed with my rook. And he and John Johnson was about to go at it, and from that day forward, nobody bothered me. I was Luke's rook. When the opportunity came for me to coach the Trailblazers, you know, I thought about Luke, and really that played a part in my decision. I felt like if I could bring him on board, that would be a big part of my staff. Not only teaching these young guys how to play the game, but being out in the community. You know, everything that we're trying, this new direction that we're trying to go into, I think Luke is a big part of that. And the history of the Trailblazers, Luke is a big part of that. So I wanted him on board to help me with these young guys, teach them how to play the game, and to try and bring that spirit back.
As the two of us speak, your aspirations of your young team.
Well, I want us to get better. And that is the goal, is to understand what it takes to be successful in this league. I've seen a lot of teams with a lot of talent, but you know, they don't win games. They don't enjoy playing the game. People don't enjoy watching them. And I want these guys to really understand that they are living a special life, I mean a life where you're playing a game you should love to play, and you've been playing it all your life. You're getting paid and rewarded an unbelievable amount of money to play this game. It's a short life. Understand that you got to enjoy it, but it's not all about you. You got to give back. You got to respect this game. You know, the one thing that Coach Carl used to always say to us, and I can't say it on camera, but if you mess with the game,
right,
the game will mess with you.
But we wish you well. Everybody's behind you. It's a new era for this franchise. I've been here a long time myself, and I'm very pleased to have you in particular be on board, and I like what you're attempting to do. So the best of everything to you.
Thank you for having me.
Very nice, huh? Very nice. The right guy at the right time. When you play on any team, you dream about going for the championship. This small college team went into the land of giants, and they won it all. Baseball had a long tradition of success at Linfield College during the decade of the 60s. Coach Roy Helser was a hometown hero as a player with the Portland Beavers, and his good name attracted outstanding talent to the McMinnville campus. After winning the Northwest Conference for 7 seasons, the Wildcat streak was expected to end in 1966. The experts were wrong. Not only did Linfield win their 8th straight NWC pennant, they rode consistent hitting and excellent starting pitching all the way to the NAIA National Championship. The impetus for this drive to the title came 1 year before. Popular first baseman Jack Marshall died from injuries, suffered in a car accident while the Cats were playing in the West Coast Championship game. For the next 12 months, the unspoken mantra was, win one for Jack. After a slow start, Linfield won 8 of their last 10 games to take the Northwest Conference. Roy Helser's team swung freely at the plate, and Jay Gustafson would set the pace with a .426 average. Alan Wells, John Lee, and Barry Stenlin all topped the 300 mark as well. Lee anchored the defense with some nifty glove work at shortstop, and it would take a narrow 1-run win in the regional series with Westmont to advance to the NAIA World Series. After an exhausting trip on 3 different flights to St. Joe, Missouri, the Cats were in a no-nonsense mood. Linfield pitchers threw complete game after complete game. Stu Young won 2 all by himself. The Cats led all series teams in batting and team ERA, winning 4 straight games and the school's first national championship. The Cats finished 29-6 and were proud to defeat schools with much larger enrollments. Much like other Linfield teams over the years, many of these players went on to careers in education and coaching. The team from left field, Linfield, the 1966 NAIA baseball champions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, representing that team in 1966, Mr. John Lee. John, come up here. Yes, sir, John. All right. Linfield College, 1966. Have a seat, John. Okay, the loosey-goosey guys from Oregon. Tell me about that troop.
Absolutely. That was probably, when you say loosey-goosey, that's an understatement. I think we were so loose that I think about midway through the season, Coach Helser just gave us up. He just said, well, you guys do whatever you want to do. He said, in fact, you guys are so loose, you'll probably win the whole thing. And this was about halfway through the season.
What was extra special about that group, that team?
The friendships. Friendships. To a man, I think that we're all probably as close now as we were when we were in college playing together on that baseball team.
Roy Helser, tell me about him.
The Bear.
The Bear.
Very, very special man, very special person in my life, and probably not only to me, but to every one of the players on that team, every one of the players that have ever played for him. Coach Helser was a little different sort of a man. He didn't say very much, but he never had a problem getting his point across. And he made it clear what he expected, and what he expected is what he got from every single one of us because of the kind of a person that he was. And that includes his family. His wife is here, Mrs. Helser. She was as much a part of that team as he was. So it went from the top down.
You were all given a bat boy. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Lanny
assigned a young man. To be
Yes,
the bat
we
boy.
all had a bat boy. We had sponsors, but this young man, Lanny, and we pronounce it Lanny Daisy, but we mispronounced it all these years, and it's been, I think it's Lanny Days.
Well, I have a little surprise for you and the rest of the team of your teammates here tonight. Direct your attention to the screen here, please.
I just want to say congratulations. I wish I could have been there this week with you. Frank always has included me when I came up to visit at Coach's retirement party in 1978. It was great seeing you then. If I could have got out of my commitments this week, I'd have been there with you. But God bless you all, and congratulations.
How about that, huh?
Lanny Days.
Lanny Days. You and the teammates that are all here tonight, all stand, please. 1966 Linfield baseball champions, right there. Look at that. Huh? That is terrific. And John? Yes.
He's not here in person. Coach Helser, he passed, and I know he's watching this, but on this national championship ring, among other things, there's a picture of Coach Helser. So I want to make sure that everybody sees it. He's here with us, and thank God for him.
Absolutely. So, John, you would take this, please. On behalf of all of your teammates, Linfield, 1966, as a team, you are officially inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
All right. I'm not sure that was happening.
What I'd like to say is, if Dad were here, he would tell you how important it is to develop certain aspects of your personality, and the easiest way to do it, but it takes a lot of hard work, is to get involved in competitive athletics. It gives you the honesty, the heart, the morality, just downright great character that makes a great citizen that we all like to know. Excuse me. To my dad.
All right, Scott. And now the award to the first McTarnahan Family Scholarship Award. From Vernonia High School, Natalie Rombach will attend the University of Oregon. From Summit High School in Bend, Jackson Baber is at Linfield College. Also from Summit High School, Roxanne Gilbride is now attending Lewis and Clark. And from Bend High School, Francis Maddox is now at the University of Oregon. Lila Forte went to Pine Eagle High School and now attends Lewis and Clark. And Jeffrey Whitman from Amity High is at Oregon State University. Join me, ladies and gentlemen. And Scott, on behalf of the Hall of Fame and these fine athletes, a big thank you to the McTarnahan family, and let's give them a round of applause for heaven's sake. The Hall of Fame has a category for those individuals and organizations that have made a special contribution to Oregon sports through their unique and lasting impact on athletics in our state. Among those few organizations that have been inducted as special contributors are, for instance, Nike, the Multnomah Athletic Club right here, the Pendleton Roundup. And to that special list, tonight, we add another name. This year, the Knott Street Boxing Club, a strong club by every sense of the word, and they have stood the time and test. They have struck fear in all the challengers and created a ring of champions, the Knott Street Boxing Club. In all of Oregon's storied amateur sports history, no institution produced more nationally renowned athletes than the Knott Street Boxing Club. Young boxers who trained at the Knott Street Gym in the 60s and the 70s won 10 national AAU championships, and some would advance to professional ring careers. Knott Street boxers won national titles as far back as 1956. In 1961 came a team championship. 7 years later, Knott Street was the only team in AAU history to have 3 national champs on the same team and have 3 competitors in the Olympic trials. The list of Knott Street alums and their accomplishments is lengthy. Ray Lampkin rose to the #1 lightweight contender in 1975 and then would fight the legend Roberto Duran for the title in steamy Panama. Steve Forbes, trained by former Knott boxer Lee Jenkins, won an IBF title belt in the year 2000. John Howard won nationals at age 14 and was voted most outstanding boxer. 3 different Knott Street boxers won more than one AAU national championship. They were known and respected all around the good old USA as they traveled for competitions. Halim Roussan, Adolfo Uquil. In 50 years, Knott Street was open for anyone who had an interest in boxing and the talent and persistence to succeed. Chuck Lincoln and Lee Jenkins coached and trained literally thousands of young men in and out of the ring. The list of accomplishments is staggering. 8 different years of national champions, the Olympics, the medals, the pro game, the battles for the belt. The years have changed the sport of boxing, but nothing can take away the memories and the tradition of the men of the Knott Street Boxing Club. You're welcome, representing the Knott Street Boxing Club, Halim Roussan, right here. Halim. Have a seat, sir. Wow. Well, the Knott Street Boxing Club has been around a long, long time. They have done so many fine things for our community. I don't really even know where to begin. So, Halim, let you start. And what has it meant to you and the community?
We had 4 people from our club that turned professional, and 3 of them became the #1 contenders in their weight division. Heavyweight Thad Spencer, middleweight Mike Adolfo Uquil, and lightweight Ray Lampkin, who's the only African American to fight for a world title.
Right.
And then we had Pete Gonzalez, who was also ranked. Pete's also missing from here, plus our first national champion, who's here tonight, Tommy Thomas, who, in my opinion, was one of the best.
All right. Go ahead, Tommy.
So and I really want to give credit and honor, because he really didn't get it during the time that we were participating, and that was really Chuck Lincoln. He was a and I was really thinking about what really helped us get to the achievements that we did. That's Chuck there. But I think we came along during the post as well as pre-civil rights era, and we came from families that certainly chastisement was a part of growing up. I mean, there was corporal punishment in school. Mm-hmm. So Chuck really didn't have a lot of problems dealing with us, because he knew that all he had to do was tell our parents. But I think, Chuck was a father figure to us. He was a sociologist. He was a psychologist. And sometimes we would get more mad at Chuck than we would our opponents because you come back to the corner and sometimes he'd slap you. Pow! Didn't I tell you to do this, do that? You know. And then, you know, there was a lot of psychology they used on us, you know, because, you know, Chuck would say, well, if you got a girlfriend, you know, you can't see her for 2 months. So, you know, we would actually do this. And then we'd get in the ring, and then he'd say, now look across the ring. That's the so-and-so reason that you couldn't see anybody for 2 months. So I mean, it was like a piece of meat. You're ready to kill this guy. And then afterwards, you know, boxing is the only sport that you're trying to actually hurt someone to a certain extent. And at the end of 3 rounds, he says, go over and shake his hand. Hug him, you know. The thing that I found interesting, they were given national championships. It started in 1888. And if you look on there, you don't see a symbol representing boxing. Because in 1888, boxing was regarded as a gentleman's sport. And the only people that actually engaged in it were people that actually had money. And it really didn't become a part of the national AAU until the early 1890s. Kind of interesting when you look at the people now economically that actually participate in boxing. And at one time, it was really an aristocrat sport.
Well, you and the rest of the folks over many, many years out there at Knott Street Boxing Club have done so many wonderful things for the community and your travels around the state and as well around the country. You are to be congratulated. So would all the Knott Street Boxing folks stand, please? And Halim, to you and to the Knott Street Boxing Club on this day, October the 11th, 2005, the Knott Street Boxing Club, officially members of the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
The Oregon Sports Hall of Fame was built to honor those men and women for their contributions to the state's rich sports history. You could have a voice in that voting process, become a member of the Sports Hall of Fame, and you can help select who is inducted each year. A large membership ensures a clearer picture of who our sports heroes are. Whether it's asking about memberships, visit to the hall, celebrations, or corporate events, the facilities and staff are right there on Southwest Salmon at 4th to make your visit a memorable one. This native Oregonian used amazing balance and muscle control to rewrite the record books. Ladies and gentlemen, few in the world of gymnastics ever became this good. "11 years after her departure, the record books of Oregon State University gymnastics are still filled with the exploits of Shari Knight. A native of Eugene, Knight was the leader of the outstanding OSU teams of the early 90s. Shari made a splash her freshman season. She was All-America in 3 events as part of the powerful 1991 squad that finished 4th in the nation. Her sophomore year was one of perfection. Knight scored the first perfect 10 in school's history in the uneven bars and balance beam. Shari Knight would eventually receive a total of 8 perfect scores. As a junior, she would reset the school record in the all-around, the combined score of all 4 events in a single meet. Knight concluded her OSU career in 1994 by winning the American Award given to the National College Gymnast of the Year. Shari was a true all-arounder, but her best performances came on the balance beam. Knight's signature move, the gravity-defying planche, an unreal display of balance and muscle control.
She's got her balance way over the end of the beam.
When all was said and done, Knight had won 7 All-America honors and set Oregon State records that still stand today. She married a fellow Oregon State athlete and has stayed involved in the sport as competitor and an official, even helping select the 2000 United States national team. a homegrown hero who helped Oregon State Gymnastics maintain a tradition of excellence. Shari Knight. You're welcome, Shari Knight. Thank you.
This is a little too big for
Huh?
me.
Yeah. Relax, Shari. That's all right. Well, tell us about your OSU experience, please.
Oh, gosh. There's so many good experiences. I think most of all, I learned to compete in college. I would call grade school the time I enjoyed gymnastics, where it was fun. I got into it because it was fun. I was climbing all over a thing, and my parents put me in it because they didn't know what else to do with me. So, to gymnastics. And then high school, I learned how serious it was and was able to earn a college scholarship. And college, learned to compete. And I think I'm back to the kindergarten stage where you do it for fun. So.
Give us some of your personal highlights of your gymnastic career.
Scoring tens, of course, was a highlight. Gymnastics is a sport where you start at perfection, supposedly. Before you even start the event, you have a 10, and they just get knocked down from there. And so basketball, you kind of keep scoring points, and your points keep going up. So if you miss one, you get to score another point, it keeps going up. Gymnastics, you just get knocked down. And so to get a 10 was like, wow, I did that perfect? Really? Are you serious? So that's pretty exciting. And there's so many things I've gotten to do because of it. I got to do a television movie because of it later, and then just competing in college to my senior year, getting the American Award. That meant a lot to me, I think, because it encompassed sports, academics, and character, and it encompassed a whole person sort of award.
How old were you when you started all of this?
According to my mother, 4. And
Wow.
she said she took me to the YMCA in Milwaukee, Portland. Said I climbed the rope to the ceiling at 4, and she went, and I wasn't afraid, and so that's how I got started.
What do you tell young ladies who might want to follow in your footsteps and want to get involved in gymnastics?
If they want to, I always encourage
Yes,
them to.
right.
So yeah, I encourage them to do it, and I encourage them to do it because they want to. This day and age, it seems like kids are like pushed in to do this and this and this, and I always am encouraging them to do it because they want to. And if it seems like they're doing it for other reasons, I try to talk to them about that.
You've had quite a career. OSU is proud of you. The entire state of Oregon is. Would you please stand?
Thank you.
For all of your accomplishments, and there are many, you are now an official member of the State of Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations. And now our final inductee to the class of 2005. This small-town Oregon player became good enough to play at the top when it really counted. He started under the bright lights, but he never forgot where he came from. One of baseball's great late bloomer stories. Scott Brosius would shine under the brightest lights in New York City. Quite a journey for a man who is really a small-town boy at heart. Brosius wasn't necessarily the best player at Rex Putnam High School, or for that matter at Linfield College. He had never attended a major league game until he signed his first professional contract. Even when he made the bigs with the Oakland A's in 1991, Brosius labored in obscurity, known more for his defense than his bat. It was the trade that brought Brosius to the Yankees prior to the 1998 season that changed Scott's outlook for the better.
Slowly to third, charging is Brosius, bare hand, fires, got him! Oh, what a play!
In his first year in the Big Apple, Scott raised his batting average 100 points. He made his first All-Star appearance and then led the Yankees to a World Series sweep of the Padres.
Fields, rolls across, end time, ball game over.
In that series, Brosius became a household name, hitting .471 in the series and belting a couple of big home runs.
Swung on a drill deep to left field. Going back is Vaughn. Still back, on the track, at the wall, looking up. See ya! A home run for Scott Brosius, who is having a blistering World Series.
1999 brought Scott his first Gold Glove at third base.
Brosius to his feet. Oh, what a play by Brosius!
And another World Series ring.
Now it's up to Brosius for New York.
Brosius made headlines in the October Classic again with his clutch home run in that emotional 2001 series against the Diamondbacks.
Do you believe it? Goodbye home run! I don't believe it! A two-out, game-time two-run home run by Scott Brosius. Probably the most unbelievable feat in World Series history.
The final tally, 11 seasons, a .257 career average, 141 home runs, 4 World Series, 3 rings. But it did not end with retirement. Brosius is a dedicated father, fundraiser, and member of the Linfield College baseball staff. Scott Brosius, a big league guy who now calls McMinnville home. All right, you heard it. Here's Scott Brosius right here. Yes, sir. My guy. Oh, boy. Sit down and relax for a minute. What was it like being a New York Yankee? Yankee Stadium, the ambiance of the whole thing?
Time of my life. Interesting, my last year as an Oakland A, we were the Yankees' home opener. And I remember being on the other side of the baseline, kind of looking over, and they're bringing out all the ex-players that the Yankees do and all the history and everything going on, and thinking to myself, wow, wouldn't that be cool to wear the pinstripes and do something like that? And then the very next year, I was there getting the chance to do it, and it was just the time of my life.
The number one highlight while a Yankee?
The number one highlight, definitely, I think, as far as on the field goes, was the first World Series.
You're MVP of the World Series. That's got to be right up there, too, right?
Well,
that's big time.
Well, for me, honestly, I think that was just kind of icing on the cake. I mean, they had to pick somebody. They could have picked anybody from the team. We had just a lineup full of great players. And the thing that I remember most about that year was we weren't necessarily the most talented team, but we were the best team out there. We had a group of 25 guys that were all committed to winning, that were all committed to putting personal goals aside. And from the first day there, it was just so refreshing to hear guys just talk about it's just about winning the title and going after the title. And so we all got along. There was a group of 25 guys that were single-minded and focused on winning, and we all got along great. We were a very close team.
All right, we've talked about the Yankees, and you arrived there, MVP, and all the rest of the story. But it took a little while to get there for one Scott Brosius. Tell us that story.
It was certainly playing. It was kind of a long process. Like I said, from all I ever wanted to do as a kid growing up was play baseball. I was fortunate enough that I had enough ability to be able to play in high school and play beyond high school, get to college. I think Linfield College, where I played my baseball, was the perfect place for me to be. But at the same time, when I signed professionally after my junior year, I was drafted in the 20th round. That's not where they give you the big bucks. I was 6'1" and 185 pounds. I was a skinny kid that was just looking for the opportunity to play. And so it was, for me, it was just never letting go of a dream. I wanted to play. I had to kind of really battle and work my way through the minor leagues. And when I got to the big leagues, success didn't really come right away, and it wasn't easy. But I loved doing it, and it was looking back on it, I wouldn't trade a minute of it.
All of a sudden, you said, that's it. You want to come home, right?
Mm-hmm. I did. I think, for me, my life, I felt like I came to a big decision in my life after the '97 season where I had struggled so much my last year in Oakland. It was one of those years where, if anything could go wrong, it did. I struggled on the field. I struggled with injuries. I didn't play well. But it was also the first year that my kids were old enough that they were going back and going to school. And so I was starting to lose some time with my family as well. And I kind of just, as the season went on, I just realized that I was starting to kind of develop a little bit of a bitterness about the game. And as I came home, I remember talking to Jennifer, my wife, and saying, this year was so miserable that, I can't go through another year like this. That I either got to change my attitude, my approach to the game, or I got to stop playing. And it's interesting because it was the first year that I really had a good contract, and it just shows that money has absolutely nothing to do with, the happiness that you have or the joy you have in what you do. And so, for me as a Christian man, I realized that, that was the one thing in my life that I'd always really kind of grabbed onto. That was, baseball. It was me out there on the field. It was me that having to face Roger Clemens or whoever. And so it always kind of held on to that real tight. And I kind of realized from that point that, if I was going to truly enjoy baseball, that I just kind of had to release that and let it go and just trust that God would put me in the place that I should be. And it was pretty interesting because it was that year that I got traded to the Yankees. And before that, it was honestly the last place that I would ever chosen to play. I hated going there as a visitor. I didn't enjoy the ballpark as a visitor. I remember at one point in the game, I remember thinking to myself, I'll never take my family to this ballpark. And, I just had to laugh when I got traded there because it was like, I think something special is supposed to happen. And it did. Yeah.
It did. And now you're working with the Linfield baseball program.
Yeah, I am. I think that, as I finish playing, I think at heart, I think I'm a teacher and I'm a coach, and that's the things that I enjoy doing. And so I help out at the college, love it there, and I also kind of dabble in some other coaching, things as well. I coach my oldest daughter Allison and her junior high basketball team, and also coach Megan and David in their baseball teams during the summer. So I'm able to kind of jump into my kids' life and be a part of that as well.
Well, welcome home. Stand up there, young fellow. On behalf of all of us, for your accomplishments in life and in sports, you are an official member of the State of Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
Pretty amazing. Thank you.
All right, the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. Another big thank you to the folks at Standard TV and Appliance, Les Schwab Tire Centers, and also our thanks to our dinner sponsors tonight, the Harold and Maude Taylor Foundation and U.S. Trust Company. And that concludes this year's induction. Thank you all for coming. Remember this. Go down to 4th and Salmon. Check out the Sports Hall of Fame in downtown Portland. There's nothing like it anywhere. And remember, in life or in sports, you've got to make your free throws. Good night.